Good afternoon. Welcome back to the Football Terrace. Myself, KJ, in the house. How you doing, bro?
It's the circus has arrived, hasn't it? The circus is in town.
Well,
And I
I
mean, I'm
it,
semi enjoying it, I'm semi loathing it. Like I'm in 50-50, you know what I'm saying?
I love it. I love it. I can't lie. Transfer window. I've said it before. Outside of the euphoria of football matches, I actually differentiate the window from football now. It's my second most favorite thing associated with the game. And big reports in the Athletic this morning that almost like just debunk these reports, debunk everything that was said yesterday that United are not looking at a winger and not looking at a centre back, and they're focusing purely on Haaland. The Athletic this morning, that pride themselves on not being clickbait, have said Manchester United have given up. They're not looking to pursue Haaland. Too much money and not a priority. It's the right hand side of the attack, and it's a top class centre back to partner Harry Maguire that they want to focus on. Now, we know that the news is a cycle. Certain outlets get fed certain pieces of information. But in terms of wanting something to be true, is this it?
I'd rather this be true than the other news be true in terms of we are focusing everything on Haaland. I'd rather us stop going after Haaland, go after a right winger, whether it be Jadon Sancho, I don't believe it will be, but a right winger, a centre back, and a DM. If you told me those three or Haaland, I'm taking those three players personally, and then maybe get a Danny Ings on a low cut deal or free, or maybe a loan striker for the season. So we give us time to actually go out and find another replacement target for Lukaku and give Mason Greenwood a ample support for his development when going playing at striker. Because I personally believe we should let go of Cavani. Cavani shouldn't be here next season. So
I hear you.
yes, I'd rather this news be true than the other news, but it's the freaking circus. Like you can't trust anything.
No, I understand that. I mean, for me, Sancho, when I saw yesterday's news, my thoughts were just this. It made me, everyone knows how much of a fan of Haaland I am, but I can differentiate my want for Haaland to be a Man United player and focus on what the most important areas on the pitch are for Man United, that right-hand side of the attack. That for me, I actually find more important than CDM and centre-back, because if we bring balance to our attack and world-class balance to our attack, I think that it will relieve the pressure on the midfield and the back line in doing so. Although we need to improve those areas also, that right-hand side of the attack is key. Putting that pressure, the report that came out of the Manchester Evening News yesterday, that is fine. We've got Ahmad and Palestri. If that was true, for me, that's gross negligent behavior as a football club, putting that pressure on those kids. I know Jadon is young, but Jadon has already established himself at a level already where he can deliver. So we have to do this. This news this morning, I believe as well that Fabrizio Romano has spoke about this deal being on. Borussia Dortmund have basically said, yep, we're open to selling him this year. Dortmund already know as well that Jadon's another further year into his contract. It looks like they might not make the Champions League as well because they're not doing great on a domestic front. They're going to need to recoup. It'll be interesting to see how much Jadon Sancho goes for. But I really hope, and if it isn't Sancho, then it's someone of Neto's level, someone of Rafinha's level, where it's exponentially better than what we have right now, because Dan James isn't that, and I want to see Mason Greenwood developed as a centre forward.
Yeah, same. And it's like we've been struggling for so many years down our right hand side. First of all, we started off all the way at the back. We struggled for a right back. We had Valencia do a job there. We had Ashley Young do a job there. You know what I mean? Like Darmian tried and failed. Like we hadn't had a right back for a very long time. So we brought in a right back in Aaron Bissaka, and yes, he's got his deficiencies going forward. But what we needed at the time was a right back who could defend, because the other ones were just getting past way too easily. So we got that. Now it's like, let's finish the right hand side, please. Let's complete it, and let's bring in a winger who can hide Aaron Bissaka's deficiencies, that can elevate him, because all he would have to do is defend. He can just lay it off to the right winger, and they have more of the freedom, the license to go and create something. This right wing needs to be fixed. We haven't fixed since Ronaldo. That's over 10 years. We need to get this done now. Now is the time to do it.
And you know what? I'm hoping this news from The Athletic, and I'm hoping this news from Fabrizio this morning is true. I hope that it's correct. I hope that it's right, because it would tell me that this new structure is looking at the right areas. You know, as Johnny said yesterday on the show, we as fans with no real qualifications in the game can see where the glaring issues lie with the football club. So why can't they? Why can't they see the glaring issues, the problems, and everything that's surrounding the football club, but yet fans can? And the hope is that we focus on it. And as I say, my first choice is Jadon Sancho, because I think he's the best in class in that age bracket, and that's attainable. So of course, you know, if we could land Mbappe that plays from the right but goes central, great. He's not a right winger that we need, actually, by the way. He's a goal scorer, not a creator. Then of course there are a few players that you would pick over Jadon Sancho in that area. You know, I'd love it to be possible. I'd love to sign Mo Salah. It's not going to happen, though. I'd love Mahrez, but that ain't going to happen. So we have to look at what's attainable. Jadon Sancho is that guy. There are other options. There are options such as Rafinha and Neto that we already mentioned that would improve this team. And I saw a lot of. I said earlier in my earlier stream today, I saw a lot of people yesterday debating. Top Reds and Ollie Inners were saying that Dan James is better than Lingard. What are you saying now? And I just sort of sit there and think, why? This is that. You know, I'm going to keep using this phrase: key stage 1 football analysis. It's micro penis time again. Neither are good enough to elevate us to where we want to go. So why on God's green earth is that a discussion point or an argument for anyone? It's just beyond me.
It's just another moment of United fans doing what we love to do. There's a massive narrative going around now. The whole, look at all these players that have thrived because they've left United, and United are such a toxic club, and they're the ex that you want to get away from. And like, listen, I agree. There are elements in Manchester United's structure that does not cater to every player thriving, and a lot of players not becoming the best that they can be due to the way the club is run. But what people are failing to do is add context to why certain players have left and done better. You look at Jesse Lingard right now. Why is he left and done better? It's because he couldn't hack Manchester United's pressure. He had a lot of personal things going on, which, unfortunately, at Manchester United, if you're not a certain kind of character, it's hard to maintain good form while personal problems going on at the same time. He's left for a team, hardly any pressure. They're overachieving, and they're giving him the license to do what he does, which is run at people with space and play in players and score goals. He can't do that, Man United, because he won't get the time. He won't get the space. That's why he's thriving. Memphis Depay, I loved him at United. I wanted him to stay, but he wasn't mature enough, and he wasn't ready to be at Manchester United. He's admitted that himself. He's gone to a lower league in Lyon, in France, playing for Lyon. Again, pressure's off. They're not expected to win the league every year. They're not even expected to make the Champions League every year. And he's able to thrive because there's less pressure. He's there. He can be the main guy. They love him out there. There's so much context that goes into why players thrive and fail.
It's also who they're playing for. How many of our players have left and gone to teams in top teams in highly competitive leagues? So Angel Di Maria went to Paris Saint-Germain, but I wouldn't say it's a highly competitive league. I can't think of any that have left and gone to a top 1, 2, maybe third best team in the league of which they've gone into, where the majority of their opponents sit behind the ball, play mid to low blocks, or sometimes exceedingly low blocks. Jesse Lingard has done so well at West Ham, and I'm really happy for him. But he would not be afforded in a Man United team that time, that space that he's given in a West Ham jersey, because teams don't set up the same against West Ham as they do Manchester United. And I'm not trying to put Jesse down. I'm not defending Dan James, by the way. Neither are good enough to elevate Manchester United. So we need to look for better. We need to look for better individuals. And by the way, any player you sign from a team that doesn't have the majority of its opponents set up against you in a low block area, they always come with that risk level, because no matter how much scouting you do, unless there is proof, unless there is a catalogue of games you can review where they've circumvented it, there's always an element of risk of can this player do it in these circumstances. With Dan James and Jesse Lingard in this particular argument, we have our proof, because we have proof because we've seen it under not with Dan James, but with Jesse, under 3 different managers. We've seen that he has purple patches in a United kit. He's done some great things on the counter. He scored one of the best winners in an FA Cup final ever, and I'm proud of him. He should be proud of himself. But the club needs better. Lingard, for me, I'm still happy if he comes back and sits there as a bench player. Would I prefer him coming on from the bench to Dan James? Probably. But in terms of arguing over who's better, I find.
See, I'm the opposite in terms of, not that I think Dan James is better. Is definitely not. But in terms of, I don't want to see Jesse even on the bench for United. This club does this thing where we don't let our players go at the optimal time. Let Jesse go. Let him leave. His career took a massive, massive halt last year and the year before that. He's now recovered his form. He's recovered his confidence. Let him go and do that. He deserves that as a footballer. Let him do that. Don't keep him here to put him on the bench to then stifle his confidence, stifle his minutes, and then therefore we'll be, why on earth did we keep Jesse Lingard? He was worth 20, 30 million and West Ham were the boy. This is what I mean. Fans need to stop doing this. Because he's hit a bit of form at a lower team, it doesn't mean he's going to come and do it in the United team. It's not like he's a youth player who's literally had 3 or 4 loans and this is his final loan and he's doing madness and like, right, we haven't seen him in United, give him a chance. We've seen Jesse at United. We've seen it. We don't need to go back there. Let him leave and play his football and let us move forward. Because this whole bringing him back to be on the bench, and that, I think is foolishness. It's ridiculousness. And it's just fans getting caught in their feelings over a player. Let it go. Let him thrive. If you love him, you will let him leave.
And it's not even with some people, they don't care about Lingard. It's being used as a tool to get Ollie. There's no doubt in my mind. The other position, we are going to open up the lines for you guys to call in, the viewers, that is, to come on and have their say a little bit later in the show. The other position that the Athletic and Fabrizio have referred to today is centre-back. And when I saw that Eric Bailly was missing from the entire squad at the weekend, first thing I did was just search Eric Bailly's name on Twitter, because I wanted to sit back and bask in the outrage that would ensue. And of course, I saw some of the biggest tweets, the ones that had the most retweets, and I went back and checked after we found out that he's actually tested positive for COVID. So fingers crossed that he's asymptomatic and he's okay and he's fine. Whether anybody apologized, none. There wasn't a single, actually, Ollie, I'm sorry. They just left the negativity out there. But United in my opinion, were always going to look for a new centre-back this year, because they've used Bailly sparingly to keep him in that shop window. He's going to move on. 15, 20 million pound incoming for him for whatever reason. And I believe it's injuries. Ollie doesn't fancy giving to Anzabir a run of games. Like, he doesn't believe that his body can stand up against it. We're looking at bringing in a centre-back. For you as a fan, and do you think for the Ollie outers watching, would it appease people if it was a Rafael Varane, a Sergio Ramos, a top level, a Jules Koundé, if it was a player of that level, of that ilk, do you think that will be enough to appease fans? But more importantly, is that going to be enough to elevate this team further, or is it always stuck in this position?
Will it be enough to help elevate the team? Yes, Rafael Varane. I don't think Ramos ain't coming. I think he's going to actually extend his contract with Real Madrid. But Varane's the one where the opening is there. If Varane came in, yes, it elevates our team, especially at the back. More pace, more experience, more leadership. In terms of appeasing the fans, it won't appease the fans. The Ollie outers will just then complain that Ollie's going to ruin Varane. You know what I mean? Like, they will find an excuse to moan and to complain about something. You know what I mean? Like, I know I moan and complain about the football club, but I make it very clear that it's because I believe the football club's ran poorly, and that is the reason why where we are. Some Ollie hours, not all, Some Ollie hours are hiding behind the facade of, oh, I love the club and it's Ollie's the wrong guy. It's more of, no, I just hate this guy. I despise this man. And it's just like, no matter what he does, he will not get the praise. Because no one's going to be shouting Ollie Paul if we got Varane. You know what I'm saying? No one's going to be screaming Ollie Paul if we got in Sancho. No one's going to be screaming Ollie Paul if we got Pogba to sign a new contract.
Yeah.
There'll be more excuses, there'll be more slander, there'll be more, find new and different creative ways to make Ollie at blame for signing a top player. You know what I'm saying? Like I guarantee you, if you sign Varane, someone will be like, oh, you see, Ollie's just shunted out Tuanzebe now. He didn't give him a chance. He doesn't play the youth. Like, it's one of those ones. There's no, right now, until Ollie goes, there's no appeasing this fan base. There isn't. No, not really. At the end of the day, not really.
No, you absolutely get that, and I think it's a year ago. It was I want to see Ollie lose less, win more, improve our league status. We've done that, and it's now, well, you don't get a trophy for that, so we want that next stage. There's always going to be something else. But if I put aside what fans think for a moment and concentrate on the football club, a new centre back is needed. A new centre back is required, and if we bring somebody in of a better quality than Harry Maguire, that speed at the back that's needed as well. That's going to be, if we bring in someone that's a very good defender, but they have about the same amount of speed as Lindelof and Maguire, I think it's a waste of money. They need to find someone that has more athleticism, plus is overall a better defender. So I think Rafael Varane stands out as a key target. I think the improvement, I think, would be drastic at the back, which is in itself is very much required and of course needed. There's no doubt about it. Let's do some of these comments here. Lingard is the best in a counter-attack system. Hence, he is doing great at West Ham, who counter at pace. Absolutely couldn't agree. Varane tested positive for Liverpool versus Madrid. Big boost for Liverpool. If that's true, I haven't seen that news. If that is true, that's no Ramos, no Varane.
Yeah, that's true. Real Madrid released that. So there's no Ramos, no Varane, no Gomez, no Van Dijk for that game in the Champions League. So that means Kabak is the best fit centre back who's about to play.
No, I said that means goals. That means it's going to be 0-0, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It means it's going to be 0-0 and nothing much more is going to happen. A lot of people are talking about that now. Heard rumors, but just in case, Godzilla targets homes of people who don't touch the like. But it's true. Yes, Godzilla will be after your home. Thank you very much, Strip Bear, for that. What's special about Ollie except he has a nice smile? See, I disagree with that. His smile is horrible. His smile reminds me of Schmeagol from Lord of the Rings. It ain't a nice smile. Like, it's just...
No one's calling Ollie special, but is there anything special about most managers? You know what I mean? Most managers aren't special. It's only a handful of them anyway. What I'm saying is, not everything is Ollie's fault. He's got a lot of issues and a lot of things he could do better.
How dare you? How dare you say that? How dare you? How very dare you say that? Hit that like and share button, people. We're going to open up the lines very, very soon. Shurik here says the problem is we don't have a reliable centre-back pairing. Once we do, the two DMs won't be needed. It's a domino effect.
Well, it depends. It depends how you look at it. Some people view it as, well, if you have a DM who can cover the defensive line by himself, that frees up Pogba and more attacking players, and then that also relieves the defensive duties. But then you can say, if we don't have a centre-back, that means both DMs can push forward, and it then relieves the defensive duties of the DM.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's one of these things for me. I understand what you're saying. There'll be less need to have a double pivot, but Ollie still may want to use that double pivot, but they can be a little bit more expansive, which gives us an extra person in that attack, or maybe the team plays an extra 10 yards, 15 yards further up the pitch, meaning that everybody's closer to the edge of the box. So there's loads of examples. We have someone with pace, at the back who can cover him from behind, which means you don't need a sitting DM in that regard. There's all sorts of things that could happen with that signing. But overtly, I think one of the biggest areas that it needs to work on, and I'm hoping they're scouting for this, is they've got to be good from set pieces. We need a new centre-back to be, and we need the new centre-back to be an organiser and an orchestrator. If we fail to pick up a player that can operate in that way, legitimately, it's big.
Yeah,
Big
it's peak. We got sold an absolute fallacy with Maguire, fam, in terms of set pieces. Ooh, set pieces. You won't concede as many with Maguire. You'll score more with Maguire. He's an organizer, he's a leader. Nah, bro, that was Johnny Evans, bro. We all know what it is now. You know what I'm saying? Like, Harry, man. Like the media sold us a freaking dream with this guy. Like, he's a good defender, but this whole narrative of he's a set piece threat, myth. It's a myth. It's an absolute myth. I don't care. Anyone says it's a myth. But we need a centre back, and we need a DM, and we need a right winger. Like, just facts.
Yeah, those things are so important to us, and I think if we get the right players in, it's just that knock-on effect, then, isn't it, of having players that balance. We see it now in most games. 50% of our attacks come down that left-hand side. It's crazy. I want to speak about Jadon Sancho though, because this has been a real big talking point today. No Jadon Sancho in the England squad for Jamie Carragher or Gary Neville. They both left Sancho out.
Yeah, because all they man do is watch Premier League every week on Monday Night Football. That's why I found it's ridiculous. People are saying, "Oh, he's having a poor season." But you guys haven't even, you guys don't even know how to spell Bundesliga, let alone comment on it. Are you mad? Jadon Sancho is actually having a great season again. You know what I'm saying? He had a poor start, maybe. But he picked up the numbers. He picked off where he left off last season, and he's in a madness. The reason why you haven't heard much about him right now is because he's injured. What more can he do? You know what I mean? Run on the pitch with crutches. Like, it makes no sense. Jadon Sancho is a quality right winger, left winger, attacker, and for England not to take him just because Jesse Lingard's had 3 months of form. You know how ridiculous that is. 3 months of form gets Jesse Lingard into the setup, but 2-3 years straight for Jadon Sancho doing a madness in the Bundesliga, and man can't even get into the England squad. This is why Southgate is a joke. If Waistcoat actually takes Jesse Lingard over Jack Grealish and Sancho, absolute joke, man. Absolute joke. It's ridiculous.
Mate, when I saw it, I was legitimately staggered. When I saw it, I thought to myself, just because he's not playing in England, what's wrong? Owen Hargreaves, I remember when he was picked, I was a kid. I wasn't a kid. I was a young adult, really, when he first started really making it into the England team. And I remember wherever I was at work, I was in a pub, I was at a game. I was like, why is he playing? He ain't a top player. Do you watch Bayern Munich play? He was a Champions League winner, starting in midfield, winning Champions Leagues. And people were acting like he wasn't a good player. But it isn't even just Bundesliga lack of knowledge. It's about the problem is with and Jamie and Neville have been dragged into this. It's a shame because they're two of the best pundits in the game. But people get dragged into hype all the time. Whose name is making the biggest splash? Who's currently on the back pages? Who's currently in a purple patch of form? And fans do this all the time when it comes to squads. It'll be, how's Joe Bloggs in the England squad? He's had a really bad 3 or 4 months. I remember 10 years ago fans moaning, why do we keep changing the squad? We need to create almost like a club mentality where there's a general core group that are used on a regular basis. And I think that's what Gary and Phil have been dragged into here. It's but these 3 or 4 are in great form, so they have to go. No, Jadon Sancho is the best player in England on the right-hand side. There is the best English player on the right-hand side. There is no one better than him that plays that position.
He's arguably the second best English player. Just in general, you can say Harry Kane is the best, which is fair enough.
Yep.
But after that, you can argue Rashford, Sterling, Sancho. For
me, all being fit and all being equal, Harry Kane 100% has to go. Has to go. Sterling has to go. Yep. Sancho has to go. Rashford has to go. Jack Grealish has to go. After that's like the attackers. After you need another. I know a lot of people saying you need Calvert-Lewin and these guys. Listen, Rashford can go centrally if we need him to, as an example. But maybe we do need another central striker. So maybe you throw a Calvert-Lewin in there as an example. After that, it's all open for debate. But those players, for me, the thought of taking a Lingard over any of those players I mentioned, it's outrageous. A lot of people saying that Rashford doesn't have to go. Rashford, 2 years running, is in the top 10 goal contributors in the top 4 leagues in Europe. So he has to go. There is barely, barring Son and Cristiano Ronaldo, who plays more centrally anyway. In the last 2 seasons combined, there is no better inside forward from a goal scoring point of view than Marcus Rashford. So to say he shouldn't go or isn't,
it's just biased. You don't like him. Just get over it.
It's just stupid. It's an absolute.
It's very mad. You know what? Yeah, and what made it worse, Tony? I saw Mason Greenwood's name in there. What are you doing? Stop that. He doesn't. Mason Greenwood right now don't need to go Euros. He doesn't need to go Euros. We've seen it with Theo Walcott, with the Jack Wilsheres. We've seen when you give these kids international debuts too early, it does stifle them for some reason. We've already seen a little bit of experience where you got called up too early to the England squad and what's happened there. Mason Greenwood don't need to go. Even Saka doesn't need to go Euros. You don't need to go Euros. If you're not going to be playing him, if you're not going to be a starter, don't take. What's the point of taking him? Take more experienced players. Phil Foden is the only one I look at that age and be like, yeah, no, you take him. You know what I mean? Like, hands down, you take Phil Foden. But he's the only one. You don't need to take Greenwood. You don't need to take Saka. Don't take them. But in my opinion, because it's not good for their development. They do what they should have been doing. They should have been in the under 23s. Same with Bellingham. Bellingham better not go. They should have been in the under 21s, under 23s for their Euros, and maybe they wouldn't have got knocked out.
The thing is, with Bellingham though, like Bellingham's playing regularly for Dortmund. He's playing in Champions League, so I can understand it. But Mason's in and out of the Man United team at the moment. He isn't in the greatest of form. Now, if he'd have had a better season than last year and he was on 25 goals at this point, then again, I'd be saying shoe in to go.
Yeah.
The problem we've got is we've got more consistent players. For me, Saka should be in that squad before Mason Greenwood, based on form, based on also versatility with Saka, that he can play left and right. He can even cover in fullback positions if injuries ensue, as an example. I just thought the whole thing yesterday, when I saw the squads, I didn't watch the rest of the show after it finished last night after the game. I streamed, and then I had a bit, and I actually watched The Passion of Christ last night. It was an interesting movie.
That film is mad.
Because I know you understand this. How close to the reality did they make that look and appeal?
Very, very close. Like, even from like the actor, what Jesus looked like, to the way they did the scourging and the crucifix, bruv. That is as visibly as you can in a film. That is the closest thing you probably get to actually what happened.
Yeah, and I was reading about. I'm one of these people I had to read afterwards. Now, jury's out for me whether his claims of who and what he was there. But in terms of that event actually happening, it is true. Like, it did.
It's true.
And I was reading this thing, and it basically went on to say there is more evidence that Jesus existed as a person than Julius Caesar, but yet nobody actually turns around and says Julius Caesar was a myth. Like, do you know what I mean? But yeah. I watched anyway. So I didn't watch the squads, but I looked at them this morning, and I was like, I was just in shock. I was in shock and everything else. But yeah, Sancho for me I mean, from a Man United fan's point of view, though, we sign him. Him not going to the Euros could be a blessing. Because, you know, if we don't get him done before the Euros and he goes and has a madness, price goes up. Do you know what I mean? So I kind of hope. That's one thing about Lingard going. If I take away my England, if he goes away for England for the Euros and has a good tournament, more peas, bro. More peas. That could be the only good thing. That's the only good thing. Do me a favor, ladies and gentlemen. Smash that like button right now. Over 700 of you watching, which is amazing. We're going to share the link in the comment section below for you to all come on and have your say right.
The passion of the terrace.
You know what? That's really good. That's a really good podcast name. I like that.
Yeah. Hey, come on now. Just fans screaming at our mics about our football clubs. Who else would want to watch that passion?
Exactly. I actually like that name. Exactly, Terry. That's what I was thinking. I think about the pricing element there. Yeah, and also, if Jadon wasn't to have a summer of playing football again, and he came to Man United, I'm not going to be annoyed. It's a bit like with Greenwood. This is where it almost becomes you become a bit weirded out as a fan when it comes to England. I always want the English Man United players to be picked because I got the most in there. But then there's this part of me that's like, but if it goes wrong, I don't want my guys being blamed because they get chastised for it.
Yeah.
Equally, if they don't play in the summer, they get a full rest, and that's what I want. I want to see them get like a proper full rest, as it were, in relation to that. The comment here says Lingard plays for West Ham for 3 months and already has more goals than Martial.
That's true, and also more goals than Timo Werner, Kai Havertz. Many players, he's got more goals than. That is a fact.
Yeah, I saw a tweet this morning. It was from Jay, who's a big United fan, part of the Stretford Terrace and everything, Stretford Paddock, sorry. And ESPN, I want to put this up on the screen actually because I think it's quite telling. Again, just the agenda is just kind of weird, right? Because obviously it's all about.
Oh yeah, from Jay Motti. Yeah, I saw that as well.
Yeah, Jay Motti put it out. But here is what it was basically about, where it's ESPN said James Rodriguez has more Premier League goal involvements than Pogba, Bernardo Silva, and Kai Havertz this season. So it's like, yeah, he does, but he actually has more than the whole of the Liverpool midfield combined. So it's like you're picking 3 players. And by the way, Pogba's not there to be creative. He's in a double pivot. So why are you using someone from a double pivot? Bernardo Silva, okay, you can pull on him, but his team are about to win the league at a canter. And Kai Havertz is a kid. Why are you not focusing on the fact that he's got more goal involvements than all of those players put together? It's just agendas, man. It makes me sick. Like, speak some facts for once. We've got Danny Devil in the details with us here. What are you saying, bro?
Not much, just tuned in. I'm not sure what you guys were saying, but you guys seen all these smoke screens that the Glazers are putting out?
You reckon
the disinformation campaign?
You believe in the games and the smoke screens and what you believe in that? I personally just think it's the circus just come out to play. Screw it, fam. Pandora's box and that.
Well, it's either disinformation or certain tier 1 journalists can't let go of a particular saga and they're getting ready to rinse it again this summer. So it's one or the other. Because the Manchester Evening News and The Athletic pretty much briefed the same thing. They clearly were briefed at the same time, like 6 weeks ago. United are going for, they have about 100 million to spend max. Players are going to have to be sold if it's any more than that. And it's one big marquee signing. James Cooper confirmed the same thing about, a week ago. And then every single time you get that briefing that limits Man United expectations, someone on Twitter or some newspaper puts out some other news that makes you think, maybe some other things are going to happen. Like I saw 2 different stories today. One that Haaland's the number 1 target, and then literally half an hour later, the opposite. Mm-hmm. So I'm just like, from decent sources as well. So it's just like, either for once we're keeping our cards close to our chest, or this is just disinformation because we won't be doing much. I think it's the latter.
It's interesting. Yeah, well, and that's what we spoke about last night with the Haaland being the number 1 target. But that did come from the Evening News. Sam Luckhurst is a bit of a downer when it comes to Man.
Yeah, but the Athletic have said that at one point that he was the number 1 target.
I get that. And
just to be fair, if we listened to Sam Luckhurst last summer, we wouldn't have been excited for Sancho at all. Just saying.
No, I understand, but he's gone the other way where United are not looking at someone on the right-hand side. And of course, everyone's going to be given different pieces of information. If Man United are doing their job properly, then we are looking at multiple players in multiple positions. So it depends who that journalist speaks to. So if you're the agent of a striker that Man United are talking to, he might feed that into, say, the Manchester Evening News or into ESPN that, United are looking at a striker and they've told us it's a number 1 priority. But United should also be talking to people on the right. They should be talking to centre-backs, talking to CDMs. And it depends who's feeding that information. My hope is that the news today is what I want to be true. I'm not saying it is, but that right-hand side of the attack, a centre-back role, they're so important. They really, really are for us to move forward and
I think that is, Terry. So let's just play some games here, guess games, right? So this is my conspiracy. So it's John Murter, someone linked to John Murter, Ollie's personal scout, etc., that's saying we want to get a right winger. But then somebody linked to Glazers in the Woodward saying, briefing people that because we have Ahmad and because Greenwood's development on the right is going so well, please, we don't need to sign another winger. Like that narrative's been put out there by the Athletic and Manchester Evening News up until a month ago. So now it's switched to a right winger. I'm like, are we seeing some division here? So is it the technical team know we need a right winger, But then you go to the Glazers and Woodward and you say, yeah, we need to buy one. And they're like, well, we've already put these resources in there.
The point is, bro, you know what it is? Like, I don't know. We don't know. My question for you as a football fan is Haaland or Sancho, which of the two do you think we should be going for? Which would be the
piece of work, man? Just come there for a general chat and you put me on the spot.
General chat, bro. Come on, bro. What in your world, you're in charge. You get to pick both in front of you.
Jadon Sancho. I'll go for Sancho.
Before we go to other calls as well, Danny, what was your thoughts on Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville leaving him out of their England squads last night?
Leaving Trent out?
No,
Sancho out.
Oh, Sancho out. I missed that. That show was long last night. They don't watch enough German football. That's what it is. They don't watch enough German football. Maybe the headlines from Germany aren't reaching them. Maybe they don't know he's the best option that we could have on the right-hand side if Southgate wants to play with a 4-3-3. If Gareth Southgate wants to play with a fluid front three and a 3-4-3 system, Sancho's more equipped for doing that than, say, Rashford is, to be honest with you. So I think there's a Premier League bias there. They clearly watch Marcus Rashford and other players more than Sancho, but to not have Sancho in that squad, that's absolutely criminal. That's absolutely criminal. Yeah, other than Raheem Sterling, our best two attacking players in a front line for me are Grealish and Sancho. So yeah,
they have to be there. We're going to have Sunshine 47 joining us now. What you saying, bro?
Yeah, what's good, Kings? How you getting on, boys?
Yeah, good, man.
Yo, that collection at the back.
That setup, bro. That setup is good, bro.
Quality.
Big. Look at that.
Appreciate
Quality.
it, Kings. Yeah, man. That's pretty much my wall of collection. Would you believe though? I only bought maybe 3 or 4 of those. Like most of them are gifts, presents, birthdays. Yeah,
back of the lorry stuff.
So I'm not standing here. I'm not sitting here saying I'm back in the Glazers just for buying merch. Just
that's what I'm saying. Like, as long as you're not spending money on the Glazers, that's all that matters, isn't it? Like, you can't help
you've literally got enough shirts. That pretty much bought the Glazers a yacht. Do you know what I mean? That's a lot of merch. Look at that, it's quality, bro.
There's more in the back.
We're about. But yeah, I'm not looking to add any more unless people family are like, you know what, go grab a couple, man. So yeah, man, that's where it is right now. I ain't buying nothing. I ain't buying no Man United shirts just yet.
Hey, come on now.
Good. What's on your mind, man? What are you phoning to say?
You know what it is, yeah. I sound like, because I've said this many times, it's one of them. You know, you have your strongest points, and you have to find that you're repeating it to so many new audiences. But for me, I've always been Ollie for the rebuild, but not Ollie forever. And I said that from the time he became the interim, because for me at the time, just before Ollie came in, what I realised is that this club needed the structure being rebuilt, and a lot of fans were talking about this DNA and this trophies. And for me, it gets deeper than just winning and trophies. I think what went into Sir Alex Ferguson winning those trophies was ultimately a family kind of unit. He created a family which then helped progress the certain mindsets in terms of togetherness. So we saw that in terms of the teams always fighting for the last minute, etc., etc. And then on top of that, of course, his management style was in terms of his winning. And I've always said Fergie for me, because I know a lot of people have put Ollie and Fergie in the same bracket in terms of being a man manager. And for me, I've always said, well, Fergie, first and foremost, in my opinion, was loyal to winning first. Then Manchester United, then the club in terms of players, then his wife. That was the order. And for me, bro, like for Ollie, over the past couple of games, I've started to see, like, I've heard about this over loyalty and stuff. And for me, I just feel like he's more, I know he's loyal to the club. Then I see he's loyal to the players. Then I feel he's loyal to winning. And then his wife. Do you know what I mean? I just don't think winning's on his priority based on certain decisions, in-game management choices that he makes in terms of certain lineups. So, for example, when I see,
sorry to cut you off here. How does this impact Jadon Sancho or Haaland coming into the football club? Because that's what the show is today.
Oh no, sorry, he was just asking me what I wanted to say. Sorry.
Oh, okay, that's on my mind.
Yeah, but I mean, you can go down that route if needs be, no problem. Do you want me to continue with that, or?
Yeah, go on, mate.
Yeah, sorry, King. So yeah, ultimately, what I'm looking at now is that certain substitutions, certain choices of players. When let's take I do like example. So let's take Eric Bailly for example. when he was partnered with Maguire, we were all raving about it, saying, "Oh my God, this is the future." Like Maguire looks so much better with Eric Bailly. Yeah, are we in agreement of that, or?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So when that was quite evident, the moment Lindelof was 50% fit again, he went and threw him back in. It's those kind of decisions that make me scared for the guy. Because remember, I've been backing this guy since day. I said, only for the rebuild. He's the only man and the only manager that I know that can bring back the DNA of what I described it as back into the club. That's what was needed. Forget trophies. The team was nowhere near trophies. That's just a harsh reality. We're nowhere near trophies. We're so far gone. We needed the structure being built back in terms of getting rid of Deadwood, in terms of organising the type of personnel within the group. And it's evident that he's smashed it. But the next level is, okay, this is where I have my question mark. I didn't say he was out, but I just had doubts. So I was thinking, well, do I believe Ollie is the guy to go, okay, you've managed to get most of the Deadwood out. You managed to put this ethos back into the club. It's the reason why so many fans got gassed at the end of last season, because we all got off the hype. Pundits were backing us. Managers were gassing Ollie up, you know, in a sense of respect, saying Ollie's done a great job. He did the most he could do. So we can't take that away from Ollie. But I'm going on to this season, and I'm seeing the formation change. We can go, okay, well, the board hasn't backed him. 100% we know he hasn't backed him. But with the tools that he has got, why would you be making certain choices as, you know, like the example I've just given, the Eric Bailly situation? Came in, he's fit, he's healthy, bang. You know what I mean? The moment Vicky Lindelof is fresh, he's back in the team. So
you know what I'd say about the Eric Bailly thing. Sorry to interject.
Yeah, no, do you think?
I think you make a fair point. My view is I don't think Ollie trusts him to stay fit to build a partnership with Maguire or Lindelof.
That's fair.
What I will say, in the interest of all fairness, is if we buy another centre back, as the rumours from the Athletic suggest we're trying to do today, a top starter partner Maguire, then we'll get out. Then the answer would just be, do you know what? He just didn't think Bay was good enough for whatever reason, but he also recognises that Lindelof and Maguire together as a partnership are not key. If he goes out and signs Jules Koundé and he still plays Lindelof and Maguire, then we've got a real problem.
Correct.
Then you're like, And I think for me, that's where I like listening to the debates, but I still look at it and go, when I look at Eric Bailly as an example, he is still not what we need, because I do think if he was to try and be played regularly for 2 months, I think his body would break down and be injured, and you'd never get that sort of stable partnership. And the reason why I think that's important is for the years before that, under Jose, under LVG, fans were screaming and crying that we rotated our centre-back pairing too much. Now that we're sticking with one that people don't like, that's also a problem. And for me, I try my best to remain as integral as I can. Yeah, and say, well, actually, I moaned about the continuing change of partnerships in the past. Now we're not doing that. And there are not really many other options, because we've got to remember this. Ollie's been in charge for 860 odd days. Tuanzebe and Bay in that time have been injured for over 690 days. Correct. So it's very unlikely that he's going to want to build a partnership with those guys. But in terms of what the news spoke about today, looking at someone on the right-hand side of the attack and a centre-back, do you think that's more important than focusing on a big sign like a Haaland centrally? Is it more important to get those two areas covered first?
I mean, just slightly on the Tuanzebe thing, I can appreciate his injury list, but again, I always look at when players have been fit. I mean, a lot of people can toot and say, well, Pogba's quite injury prone if we're going off the basis of how much he's played over this time he's been here. Do you know what I mean? So I get there's levels in terms of the injury proneness, but you know, with the centre back partnership, I still think again we do need the centre back, and I don't think spending big on a Haaland is the way forward. All I've seen so far for this rebuild is the fact that our right side is weak as hell. Like, you know, we're forcing players to play out of position as such, or to learn a new position, however you want to quote it, just you know, to get away with it. And for me, I'm with you guys on the Sancho. I've always said Sancho, not for the simple fact that we know he's a baller, we know he's 20 years old, and we know he's doing bits in Germany and in the Champions League. You know, he performed against Barcelona really well, in my opinion, in that game. So he's got that in him. However, getting a Haaland, I look at how Haaland scores his goals. I don't know if you guys, I'm assuming you guys watch German football because, you know, you love your football. But I don't know if you watch Haaland, if anyone who's listening, but watch how he actually scores. He doesn't actually create as many goals for himself as he does when he's, as we would expect. So he does thrive off link-up play. He does thrive off people trusting his forward runs. I can't see a striker of Haaland coming into this team. Although I agree we need a striker at some point, I don't think now is the time. I'd rather get creativity from the width areas, knowing that at least we can force the ball into a dangerous area. Then we can say, right, Greenwood, make sure you're on the last man. Greenwood, make sure you're making the last darts into the box. Those are the basics of football, in my opinion, as a striker, the basics of movement. Then we can start trusting that style of play, that pattern. Then we'll be thinking, do we really need Haaland for 150 million? Or is it a case of we can just go get another striker who can still do the basics? Because we know from the left and right, we're getting creativity.
Yeah, I feel like, I hear what you're saying there completely. I feel like for 150 mil, plus the 30 million salary, plus the 40 million in agent fees to his father, and plus the issues that is undoubtedly going to come with having a Mino Raiola player, I think all those things are going to happen. We could use that money and improve in centre-back areas. We can improve the right wing. We may even have a little bit left over to start looking at, a better holding midfield player, and with Lingard doing so well right now. Like, if you're a real Man United fan,
yeah, you want him to do well.
Yeah, you should not be. There's two reasons you should be wanting Jesse to do well. One, because he's a Man United academy player, and you should always want your homegrown players to do well because that's normal. Secondly, it's giving us a great bargaining tool here to be like, oh, we want Declan Rice. Now, hopefully they just miss out on the Champions League spaces from that point of view, because if they make the Champions League, that injection of money may lead them to say, you know what, we're going to hold on to Rice for one more year. But the hope is that you can say, listen, take Lingard and maybe, there's 10 mil, 20 mil on top and give us Declan Rice, because you suddenly throw in a Varane, a Declan Rice and a Jadon Sancho to this squad. And as long as you don't lose too many players, I think that improves us more than just getting Haaland.
Yeah.
Overall, we play better football. We're more balanced. We've got a stronger core. And that also then gives Ollie the squad, where I think even his most staunch supporters will have to hold their hands up and say, you've got to deliver even more wins. You've got to deliver trophies, and you've got to be in a title race at the very least with a squad of that quality. I think then the excuses stop and we can just focus on football. Is he good enough or not? None of this. He hasn't been backed. He doesn't have the squad. There's no depth, because that would give us a plethora of quality throughout. And that's why I want to see it happen more than my own personal preference. Is it just stops these hamster wheel debates going on and on and on and on and on? Because if he gets sacked now, Ollie, there'll still be his supporters that will say, given his time, didn't get given the squad. And it's just, I want us to know unequivocally whether he was good enough or not. And right now, I have my opinion, you three have yours, but none of us actually, it's all hypothesis, it's all theory, it's all what I think, bruv, as opposed to
Sunshine, where are you from, by the way?
Midlands, bro.
I heard it. So am I from it.
So where you from?
Birmingham.
Oh, bro. Okay, say no more. I train up those ways. Birchwood Harry's my athletics team, so Perry Barwick.
Okay. Oh, hey, come on now. Let's go. I heard it. I was just like, yo.
What's your discipline in athletics?
Discus. I throw plates as far as I can in a cage without being over the top.
Nice. Oh, good stuff, mate. Good stuff. Yeah, listen, I hear a lot of what you're saying there. Danny, Danny sits there listening methodically. What are you thinking, Danny? I never know whether he's agreeing, disagreeing. You never can tell with Danny's face.
Disagreeing with a lot. No, just on the Bailly one's it's just a weak argument because he's not fit. It's just a weak argument. And this whole thing, one thing I disagree with what Terry said is, no, we know he doesn't rate Lindelof that highly because when Bailly's fit, he picks him. He picks him. You can argue the odd game.
I disagree with that one.
The problem is, this is what happens. When Bailly gets fit for a prolonged period, Lindelof gets dropped, but then people want to see Bailly in the team for an extended run. And the reality is, we know why he doesn't get an extended run in the team. He even needs to be managed physically. And even when he's not managed, or even when he can get injured in training, he's just too injury prone. That's why I just think this whole idea of, does Ollie know who his best centre-back? So, no, he does. It's just by his injury.
Oh, I don't think he doesn't know who's best. By far, his most reliable centre-backs are Lindelof, Maguire. That's without a doubt. Without a doubt. But for me, just to add on, I know I use Bailly as oh, Ross. What's the ice cream?
I ain't had that in a long time. Is that a trap phone? Is that a trap phone? Old school ringtones.
That was funny. That made me laugh.
Ages. Oh, he's blacked out as well.
Yeah, what we're gonna do while we're waiting for him to come back is we're gonna go to some more calls.
Come back.
There we go.
Wait,
there
is
we
it
go.
back?
Yes, we can hear you, bro. We're gonna go to. I'm not too sure. It all went dark. We're gonna bring some more callers on to have their say. We're gonna get some more callers on now.
Please mute me out and drop me back in, please, bro. I can't hear a word you're saying.
You can't. Okay, all right. We'll push you out
and then I don't want to mess your stream up.
And then we'll bring you back in a few seconds. We're gonna bring some more callers into the mix as well now to have their say. We're gonna go to Fixer and we're gonna bring Abs in as well. What are you saying, Fixer?
Yeah, hi guys. How you guys doing?
Yeah, good man.
Yeah, I just wanted to say about this Ole thing. Yeah, I'm having a discussion with somebody on the, I don't know if you guys can see the live comments, or not the live comments, but the private chat. And I don't understand this thing against Ole. Me, I'm not Ole out. Like I said to you guys, from Ole doubt. But when when people are saying stuff that I don't agree with, I have to speak out, because everybody's saying, "Oh, Ole isn't good enough," this and that, and I just don't get it. I just don't understand what they want. Okay, this guy is second in the league as we speak, right? The only manager ahead of him is Pep Guardiola, the best manager in the world, with the best team in the world. Like, what else can this guy do? We're winning games. Okay, we're not winning it like flamboyantly, but we're winning games. All right. We've lost like how many games in the league? I don't think we've even lost up to 5 games or 6.
We've lost 4. We've lost 4 games. All of them at home.
I think we've lost 1 game in the Premier League since January.
I mean, what else can this guy do? Don't forget, Ole is not like, he's not a manager who managed Barcelona or Chelsea or any of these big clubs and then came to United. This guy came from Moda. All right, cut this guy some slack, for God's sake. Like, he's I don't know. I just don't get it.
No. Fixer. You know what the issue is for people? That's too fair. That is too fair, and it's not agenda driven. Like they have to be agenda driven.
I'm not like an Ole in guy, but at the same time, I'm like, come on. I mean, I watch.
You know what he needs to do? He needs to be reckless, and rather than make decisions and create a structure, which basically papers over certain weaknesses we have in the team, he should just let the team go gung ho and attack. That's what he should do. So So those people get to see, okay, now you get your flamboyant football, but look what happens when we just go gung ho like that. But
exactly. I mean, that's what he was doing. That's what he was doing when he first came in.
The football club will not benefit, but at least they know now. That's what needs to happen.
That's what Ole did when he first came in. He played the flamboyant football. We won a lot of games, but when it really mattered, the legs were gone.
Yeah, everyone was dead.
The legs were gone, and then the last few games. So he's now looked at it and said, okay, you know what? In order for me to sustain my career as a manager, in order for me to get this club where it needs to be, we need to take it step by step. We can't just be going gung ho.
One of the reasons, it's also another one of the reasons that City can play with such a high intensity when they play, because they've got a squad to rotate, and then the quality within the squad.
Exactly. Look at City's team. Everybody in that, they have like 22 world-class players. So even if, City they don't even use a striker sometimes. Aguero is leaving and they don't even care.
It's very different. City don't rotate their first team and suddenly have Dan James level players in 3 or 4.
Exactly.
So it's important. There's a comment here that says, "Do United even have one specialist in their position?" I mean,
yes, because we have a goalkeeper, so there's one. So we have 2 of them. Right. So we have 2 of those, and then we have a left back and a right back who are specialists.
A right back specialist and right back. Bruno.
People need to give Ole some time.
So hang on a sec. Bruno's a specialist. Pogba's a specialist. Rashford, one of the best inside forwards in the world, he's a specialist. So
Pogba's not a specialist. Pogba's not a specialist.
We're talking about he's one of the best in the world, brother. He plays in midfield.
Not a specialist. That's not what they
mean.
But
it is. Danny's looking at it as like is sole DM. That's a specialist in that.
I'm pretty sure that's what they mean. I'm pretty sure that's what they're referring to.
Ole doesn't use him as a specialist. Ole doesn't use him as a specialist, but Ole plays him everywhere. Plays him on the left, plays him here, plays him there.
Hang on. But Pogba's a box to box. That's a job role, which means you have a bit of defensive elements and you have a little bit of attacking elements, and Pogba has both of those in abundance.
But you could argue he's not. You could always argue things with Paul Pogba because of his attributes and the way he's being used.
Not me. Only idiots. I wouldn't argue that with an idiot. What
I would say is we only have 2, obviously not including the back 4. We only have 2 in Bruno and Rashford. That's it. Like, they're certified.
Dan James as well.
No, Dan James is certified sprinter, 100%.
Listen, my man's doing track and
specialist runner.
100%. We have a super chat here that says, "Oh no!" So to answer your question, Twisted, yes. Thank you. Well,
We
Ollie,
have two specialists.
there we go.
To
All
be
right,
fair,
Abby, what are you gonna say, mate? What are you here to say, bro?
I was going to say with the Ollie in and out, I don't take any nonsense into that thing because 1 minute we get told Man United squad is shit, but yet they want Ollie to do miracles, and then another thing, oh no, it's good. Why is he not doing better? Make up your mind. Like I said, I'm waiting for 3 positions to be sorted out before I judge Ollie to actually properly judge him. Me personally, I'm happy with the Jadon Sancho links. I feel like Man U are finally using the media to throw smoke screens out because I feel like we want a right winger. Because if you look at what we've been linked to recently, it's been Sancho, Dembele, and Neto, who can all play from the right. Personally, money-wise, for price-wise, Neto, because obviously...
all 3 of those options, you are picking Neto.
I would take Neto.
Over Sancho?
Over Sancho.
Fix a guy.
Wait. Why are you taking Neto over Sancho?
Because Sancho, the hassle is too much. Okay, like if you go through that trouble to get him, pay all that money, he's going to come into the club, and the ego and everything is going to be too much. It's going to be another Pogba.
There's no ego.
How do you know that?
I know because from experience.
Fixer, you are such a gammon, bro. You're such a
What's a gammon? I heard you say that before. Explain that to me. What is a gammon? I don't even know what that is.
Basically, if Terry shaved his head, started shouting England and got red, that would be a gammon. That would be a gammon.
I don't even want Sancho. He's English. I want somebody else. How am I a gammon?
Bro, hang on a minute, bro. Hang on a minute. What is it about Sancho that makes you think he's got an attitude? Is it the clothes he wears, the music he listens to? What is it?
No. See. Let me tell you one thing here. In life, if everybody has some sort of attitude within them. If you pay 120 million for Sancho, and he comes into the club, it's gonna be the same whole Pogba thing. He's gonna I don't think he's gonna fit into the.
But we're not.
I don't think it's gonna.
You Fixer, sorry, I'm stopping you there. That is absolute bollocks, bruv. You do not know Jadon Sancho. You don't know him, so to insinuate that he would be like that just because he's worth 120 million is a foolishness. You have not. Do you know him personally?
I don't know anyone personally. Do you know any of them personally? But we talk about them, don't we?
Exactly. So what do you go off? You go off the people that know them. You go off the people that work with them.
I'm going off experience. I'm going off experience. We've had Pogba. Look at the hassle we had with Pogba.
My view is this. My view is this. Jadon Sancho.
Jadon's a humble guy.
Jadon Sancho.
Wait, how do you know? How do you know that?
No, he's not. Did you see what he did yesterday with his clash with Lingard and the reason they were clashing? He's got the perception he's humble, but I saw a bit of
just because man plays for Wolves.
You know he's got a bit. Do you know what it is? He's got some
exactly. He plays for Wolves. Yeah, you bring him in for 50 million. There's no pressure. You come and do his job. Go home.
It makes no sense.
It's all PR, bro. Like some people do the whole "I'm humble" thing. Like Messi's been a master at making people think that he's the nice guy, and Ronaldo was the arrogant son of a gun. When it just isn't. They're both. To be elite, to be the best, you have to have an air of arrogance. But the reason you should want Jadon Sancho is he's had 130 professional football matches in his career, all for Borussia Dortmund. And he has 106 goal contributions in 130 games. That's not like from the age of 23 to 27. That's since his debut. You will not, in a top 4 league ever, of a winger stroke inside forward, find me something.
That won't matter in the Premier League, mate. That won't matter in the Premier League. You come to the Premier League, it's a whole different ball game.
Of course it matters. Answer me a question. Find me a player in history that plays inside forward or on the wings within their first 130 games from debut in a top 4 league. So I'm not talking about did 5 years in France and then made their debut in a top 4 league. I'm saying from debut in top 4 league, inside forward or winger, scored or created 106 goals in their first 100.
He played for Man City, remember? They didn't even want him, so I don't know.
No, that's a lie.
That's a lie. They wanted him to stay. They offered him a contract. He did not want to stay and wait around for Pep to feel like, okay, now I'll give you game time. He left to go game time. And this is what even more impressive. Young 17-year-old leaves Man City, one of the best clubs in England, to go to Germany by himself, not know the language, not know the league, and went there and has killed it. He didn't wait around for Pep to be like, okay, now's your time. He went and sought after what he wanted and he grabbed it, and now he's where he is. If you're telling me that kind of mentality, you don't want him because he might cost you 100 million.
I think Neto will be a better fit for United at this time.
No,
I really do. I really do.
Yeah, okay, so explain why. Take out this whole.
We haven't got time for him to explain why, because I've got to go. I've got a meeting that I've got to attend. I'd love to stay longer, but I can't.
Another time.
Yes, another time for that. Everyone who's tuned in today, thank you for all the super chatters. Thank you for all the new subscribers. Thank you. We're back 5 p.m. Chelsea Champions League preview. Anita's going to be with us, and then of course live after the games this evening. Until next time.